Peace. Okay, was here building, so that's why I got on a little bit later, but I'll be here certainly till 8 p.m. Certainly as long as people, need me, need to build. Rome Fetty, peace. Be scientific, peace. I haven't seen you be scientific in years. Um, any questions, let me know. Uh, Fairly busy week, good stuff. But I would really like to know what people would like to know and start out like that. All right. I was building with one of my brothers, my kung fu brothers, my kung fu god brother, my big brother in this kung fu. And we're talking about the internet and the responsibilities that we expect out of those who learn from the internet. You know what I'm saying? And the classroom here is just for direction, to give you a better direction. Because there are certain things that is really not just to give out. And it's always a question for those that aren't really used to doing this like I am now, or Dark Him, because we're really the ones that are really pioneering this. We give out a lot that we know wouldn't have been given to us so easily. But there's still so much more, so it's important that everybody comes through, you know what I mean? Especially the brothers that live in this area, you know what I'm saying? To make those pilgrimages. If you live in the outer boroughs, like, you don't really have an excuse. Like, if you live in Staten Island, I'm coming from Staten Island now. Okay, so I'll leave this class at night. And if I'll leave here, like last week, I let you all go at like 9:30, but I was building here late. It may take me almost 3 hours to get home. And there's no problem with that, but when you find something that is valuable, you have to put some kind of effort to show how valuable it is. And the best way, and for me the only way, is the quality of your work. The quality of your work that you put in as a student. In this case, though, the quality of the question is what's important. You know what I'm saying? That's Peace Be Scientific. So I'm going to write down my email. Okay. How long? I'd like to know how long you had knowledge of self, Okay, because everything I say would be from a place of ignorance. Rome, I'm doing very good. A lot of building. Okay, the class is empty. I expected some students though to build with. Hopefully, people come through. You know what I mean? Consistency is the key. When you're not around, though, you never miss anything, but you will miss what you need. Okay. You was born with the knowledge, and at about 5 or 6, your old Earth went to the NOI. My old Earth is Queen Taniqua. That's peace. That's peace. I don't know how old you are, but anything that you want to ask or anything that you would like to share, you know. JB the Bass. First time I remember, I'm pretty sure I never seen that. So peace. Anything you would like to know about this class? Political education and civilization enrichment. That's what the Peace course is. I started teaching this class here at the Law School of Mecca in the year 2000, the month of April. Coming here every Thursday, I can say that I've averaged at least 50 Thursdays a year. Right? Give or take. Okay. That's peace. That's peace, be scientific. So anything that you would like to add on or anything you would like me to build on, it's peace. You know what I'm saying? Again, teaching online, something that me and Darkim have been doing. It is a new thing. Brothers have trepidation. Gods have trepidation of it. They don't know if it's a good thing. They don't know if it's a bad thing. They know that there could be bad with it, but they're not sure. And my thing is, the classroom, no matter how much you teach, we're always going to share something that may be a little bit too much. We always do our best. The classroom is never the only place to get knowledge of self. It is the beginning place. It is the place with structure and definition, but it isn't the only laboratory of the student when they are under the study and when they have chosen their enlightenment, that who is going to take them through math, alphabet, supreme math, supreme alphabet, the 120 lessons. You know?
Peace, God.
Peace, God.
Pardon the subject.
That's peace, God. But so for everybody online, if you have knowledge, it's to see what you have to share in the classroom, make it a community, as so many have done. But more so as a student, what is important though is how you engage outside of the classroom. How well do you do your assignments? How well do you, if it's me, how well do you engage me to say that you've done your assignments, that you ask for more, that you have distinct questions, and when asked, you have distinct answers. You develop a clarity of what you don't know, a forthrightness of what you will do to be stronger. It's a lot of work. But I feel like this, again, the student that's online has to do more to show that he is involved. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's not a common righteous name. Poetic. Okay? I agree, be scientific. One must walk and talk. You know, but what happens is that the dilemma is beyond that because I have many students that can't make it here. They don't live near here. So there has to be a way to engage where the assignments that are giving are going to show the dedication. JM, peace. You seem new as well. Okay, any questions that you would like? Peace to the God, King Kamal. Last week I went through a particular plus lesson of mine. If you're around for the special things too, I even had to defend the plus lesson, and I had talked about how it was a very negative thing when I got knowledge for brothers to write their own plus lessons, to have the daring and the innovation to write their own essays about their own particular understanding of certain issues about math, alphabet 120, and anything else. And I was saying that, and you heard it. You know what I mean? You heard that attitude. You know what I'm saying? That was against it, displayed perfectly. You know, and I think we was talking about that, King, and that's the reason why when people have, I'm not going to say negative attitude, but a confrontational attitude with me in this classroom, I keep my calm very well because I see opportunities of education, you know, so it could work out, you know. Peace to wisdom, infinite earth. Peace. Today's mathematics is wisdom born. Wisdom is the usefulness of knowledge, the using of knowledge. I give it an active reality. And when the usefulness, the using of knowledge is in an active state and constantly fulfilling something, whether your words, your particular actions are able to actually capture and direct some type of fulfillment, some type of completion of something, right? This is the nature of our speech. This is one of the highest natures of our speech, wisdom born. That's why it borns knowledge. That's why knowledge is the word is born degree, right? It all ties in, right? Very crucial. And as we go along, as if we use mathematics to chart a reality throughout the entire month, and we get to these very last days, how has the way that you've been conducting yourself this month brought a more useful cipher? How it has you've been able to attach new knowledge for the future from what has been developed earlier the month? How have you been able to turn that wisdom into and couple it with the ways and actions of others that are right and exact and make a culture? How have you been able to couple it with understanding that may be aged, that may be old, that may be deep in the recesses of the mind and make it more powerful? How have you been able to say throughout this month, the way that I have conducted myself has been able to put me in a proper position to fulfill a better way of building? And in this entire month, how have your ways and actions, the nature of you, the way, your own wisdom, the way that you have used this knowledge throughout this month, how has it actually revealed a deeper reality of you, a deeper confirmation, a deeper affirmation to the world of you? And also, how has it become natural that you're more natural, that your own wisdom has been able to universally change the way things are from the very last month, from this to this month. It all leads to what wisdom has been born. I went through the entire 20s in the supreme mathematics as if I was thinking of the supreme mathematics every single day with regard to a whole month of writing my history in advance. For me in this class, for my students, for everyone that learns with me, the ability to write your own history by looking at today's mathematics, how it borns, how it reads, how you gain insight is the real power of supreme mathematics. And if you go to the end of the month and that mathematics hasn't gained something, a trajectory hasn't been fulfilled, then you either aren't seeing it, and it also means that you probably aren't planning it overtly. See? Right? So. Don Sensei, peace. A lot of new names here, and that is peace. Malik, peace to God. It's so weird, the fluctuations of classroom, you know what I mean? And I'll say this, so like more people, the reason I'm able to stay here so long is that more people worry about things that they thought I should worry about, and I have never worried about it. Last week I had a very filled classroom. This week this week starts out empty. There's only one person that has to be in attendance here, and that's me. The service to the nation and the service to the school is by me showing up. And if there are no students, then I am the guaranteed student. And then there's a student teaching himself, right? Sometimes we worry about this, and I say this because we should think about these things for the all the reality. We shouldn't worry about how many people are 5%. We shouldn't worry about this. We shouldn't worry about that. We should take note of how effective we are in building, in sharing, and how that resonates to our people. And then continue to do the best we can. Take grade of yourselves, right? Take humble analysis of yourself, and then go out and see if that's worthy of change as well. Sometimes the answer, the action to get to the answer, sometimes isn't always the way. Sometimes this idea of just we need more youth here, and then doing things overtly to get the youth, though, is almost like you're opening up a circus, though. You know what I'm saying? To try to attract things. You have to be very wary of what you attract. Nearly all students are attracted by the magnetic. But the truth is that they may be attracted by the wrong magnetic. And throughout the history of this nation, though, we could say that that is probably the case in a lot of cases. And in many others, it's just too hard. It's too hard to be true and living. Too hard to live this righteousness. It's much easier to follow it. You can follow things and misstep whenever you want. In a religion, you follow righteousness, and when you damn well please not to fulfill that deed of righteousness, you always have the excuse that you were weak and that you stumbled. Nothing really gets ruined. It's designed to be reset again and again. It's not so much, though, when you say you're the true and living God, you're the true and living earth, responsible for all things, and you have there is no credit. There's no credit for starting over. You don't get kudos for renewing. You know what I mean? No one gets love for falling off the planet. You know, even if they climb back on it, it's well, get your ass in gear. You know what I mean? And it's always going to be that way. So I don't worry so much about the numbers of the nation. How many people? You know what I mean? How many are here? Right? Right? None of that stuff really, nothing of that. None of that really matters. Right? I paused there. I said that, and I got Lauryn Hill and D'Angelo's "Nothing Really Matters" in my head now. I'm gonna have to hear it when I leave now. It's a great song. Right? So anytime that you feel like you're trying to get 5%ers and trying to get youth and obsessing, you play that Lauryn Hill song. You know what I mean? Just build. Be great. You know, sincerely speak to them. And you'll get who's going to be in it. The numbers are never supposed to be incredible. Right? They're supposed to be quality. Do for self, you said the student becoming teacher reminds of your Blackest Pedagogy chapter. That's because that's how I wrote it. I wrote this life that I live. I literally wrote that. I wrote that in 2003. And I had just been teaching here for 2.5 years, you know? And that's the type of teacher. I wrote about the type of teacher that I intend to be. I wrote my history in advance. See, when people read the Blackest Pedagogy, they're reading me show and improve in the knowledge degree in the 1 to 40. I wrote my history in advance. People read it now and they say, well, he really did that. He really does this. When I wrote that, I hadn't done it yet. I had just started, but I knew I would do it. And I knew what type of teacher I ought to be, what type of teacher I intended to be, and what type of student I always intended to continue to be. And I wrote that. You know what I mean? So that's why it resonates very powerfully with me. It's kind of why it sounds familiar right now. Sunday or Monday, people are always here. I don't know what times they will be here, but people are always here. You know what I mean? Peace to Crypto Show. Wisdom is born when you deliver. Show what you know effectively because talk is cheap. I agree. I agree. By deliver, I'm sure you mean born. That's the delivery. Shown and proven it evidently. That's peace. He's starting to write. I'm assuming that you mean he's starting to write rhymes, right? It's a precious cargo. That's a great song. My brother King, he literally wrote that effortlessly. I call that that's the Jordan Flu song on our album. You know what I mean? I give that story in the book too, God. King, I told that story in the book. It's the Jordan Flu song. You know what I mean? One of the things that just came into my head about how to be a student, how to make wisdom born. I think that right. That's peace. That's peace. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's gonna learn from the great pocket swimmer, the silk peddler, King Kamal. You know, to be a student in this knowledge of self, though, is to not be afraid of having an overload of knowledge, overload of information. You know what I mean? I don't say it's not the way for them to do it. Every student will decide how they're gonna do it, even no matter how much I say something. But I always cringe a little bit when students tell me that they're just gonna focus on 120. You know what I mean? Um, that's not how life goes. You know what I'm saying? And if most students they're learning things and they're going to school, they're going to be learning things in school and dealing with 120. Then I understand that. But if you're past being a student, college, if you're grown past that age, though, and I give this advice, I can't hold your hand, and you shouldn't hold yours. In other words, you shouldn't hold back. You should have a fury that you are behind the 8 ball. You're way behind. You have catch up to do. And you should be willing to read things and be a great reader. The better you are as a reader, people don't understand that when you read intensely, you're getting your mind used to dealing with heavy amounts of information. You won't remember everything, but you start to remember more and more. The reason is because you're going to start to read, and your mind is immediately going to start to do better and better with remembering the passages and the pieces of information that link up to useful understanding immediately. That wisdom that borns, right? That really can become something. It's going to stick with you, right? That practice only happens by reading more and more. It also happens more and more when you read and then you start to write about your ideas and insights. I think it's a mistake for every student in life, your whole life, to not try to set down and journal on the side. No matter how pitifully you add on to it, it's important to try to do at least one. You start out with just 3 pages a week. But there are too many ideas that the mind has of understanding that need to be written down. So you can go back to your own thoughts, your own ideas. If you're not good at a journal, right? Pulling out a whole book and a pen and getting set, then have a Google document that you open just for your thoughts of the day. And you can catalog them as you go along, and that'll be your on the go journal, and have that type of journal. There's many types you can have. But respect your understanding. Respect the fluidity of your understanding. Respect that understanding might be supreme 1 minute to you, but if you write it down and look at it later, you realize it isn't tested well. And that's why writing and getting your thoughts down are important, but also reading. Okay? There needs to be some time where you do that. Okay? It's so important. A lot of people wonder how I write and how I write so many things and ideas. That's the secret. That's the secret. You know what I mean? Every resource at your disposal, you know. I think Wisdom Infinite Earth, I think that a lot of people are scared of their potential. They're scared of what they could become. They're scared that whatever they become that is right and exact will have to be a change of their entire character. And then that what they have become and what they had people have loved of them may not be what was lovable and what should have been loved in the first place. And that's a thing that scares people. You know what I mean? And they'll get that fear from other people as well. You know what I mean? This is why it's so hard for the 85 to change in many respects. That's peace. Be scientific. The graph. Okay. King, you said today's math is wisdom born, all being born to knowledge, all being born to wisdom. Your word, your ways, words, actions are your resume that born a spark in others to want to know more about your foundation. So it's a good build. For each one should teach one. Our actions always speak louder than words. That's right. I was happy to see that a lot of people asked for the plus lesson that I was quoting and that I was reading last week of mine, the Justice Build. If anybody wants that, if anybody ever watches an older session, you know, you can ask me about that. You know, I won't remember exactly what was said like in past sessions like that. So you could just, if you have a question about anything in those sessions, just tell me the session and the time that I said it, so I can look back, or like something that you wanted more clarity. Give me the specific time frame if it's about a specific thing. But if there are things that I said I had and you want them, I always tell people to email me because I can't remember everything in there. And the email is what I use to keep all what students give me in line and everything. You know what I mean? So it's easier for me. You know what I mean? And if I haven't emailed you and you emailed me, or you know, forward it back to me, put it at the top. You know what I'm saying? King, you said God, Sunez, have you ever noticed how some people's lessons are worded differently but make the same point? What's your thoughts on that? Is that like grafted from the original? No. It's a good question. The lessons were not taught the way we teach them now. So that it was really Mecca here in the 90s and on. Like they started printing out stuff and copies and stuff. And histories and things like that. But things on paper were not really done. And in the early days, they weren't. Peace.
Justice, you see him?
I heard him. I heard him somewhere. But it's probably back that way, yeah. But the lessons were gods were learning from each other, and they were all young and they were learning, but they were also sharing what they learned, and they did not learn everything chronologically, like set. So sometimes they share a degree with another and share there, and then when they would write it down, they might write it down not exactly as perfectly memorized or as it was given to them. You know what I'm saying? Or and honestly, a lot of the gods early, they weren't really writers, per se. So grammar was a problem. And as you know, Elijah, that's hard to detect because Elijah Muhammad didn't had issues with grammar, you know. So you get different sets. So there are just if you're at the root here, I know which sets are right and exact. I know which errors are not from original sets. You know what I mean? You should know like they're not obvious like saying the white man is the other true and living God. Like if your set has that, then you got you got you got the Beverly Hills Polo Club lessons. You know what I'm saying? But certain things, certain wording. Why do we let a half original man Columbus? Third degree in the 1 to 14. Why do we let a half original man like Columbus? These are things. What I'm talking about, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Things that say that the white man is a skunk in the wisdom degree in the 1 to 10. Those are things that the father took out. So if anybody's lessons has that, then that would be wrong. You know what I'm saying? That would be wrong. But a lot of them was like little wording and stuff. That's why you see it like that. Come on. So for me personally, I can only invalidate something. I have to see it. I have to see what was written. Kind of have to see it. But in the 60s, when the father was alive, they weren't writing it down. Started to write it down later. And whatever mistakes they made and things like that, that's what you get. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Anybody has any questions about anything? Okay. Some new people here though. My name is Sunez Allah. I got knowledge of self in 1999. Born. Right? I came here in May of 1999. I started to teach here in April of 2000. So the type of crash course that I had was very intense. I spent lots of times with the elders and all of my peers that had this longer, meaning my big brothers, was groomed differently to teach it. Expected to be a little bit different. I didn't say better, I just said a little different. Where we always represent the nation wherever we go, but I have to represent the nation with everything I do. You know what I mean? Even in the arts, my writings, my music, everything. But it's not a thing that is unnatural to me. It is very natural, as you can see. The name of the Peace course is a civilization course like any other, political education and civilization enrichment, named by my brother that brought me here, Dave's son. He knew I'd teach the course, and he made up this name of this course. We're writers, though. We'll be using our writing tools, communication tools, skills, and reading obsession to use that as a gateway to teach them the knowledge of self. And that becomes the Peace course. How to deal with the outside world, political education, and the science of everything in life, civilization, enrichment. Micah, peace. King, I mean, how did people memorize the entire 120 in the 60s, 70s without notes and only orally? 1 degree at a time, God. And you got to understand that the relationship was different, God. Like, with the firstborn and the very first fruit of the firstborn, they were young. They lived in these streets, and the father lived with them. Like, he was always with them. That's all they did. They legally, illegally, they survived together. You know, they hustled their way to survive. They built up their way to survive, and they were always around each other. That they lived and breathed that, and it was so revolutionary. They were the ones that were analyzing it in a deep way. That's why we have supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. You know, because this springboard of exceptional youth, young gods, sparked the father to think even deeper about this knowledge and to test this knowledge and compose the supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. It's genius. Genius. The perfect teaching tool. To go with, let's be clear, a very, very difficult set of teachings. You know? When I started this course in 2000, though, it's like I said, I didn't have students, and I didn't try to communicate and advertise that. I just waited, studied, and kept learning. And as students came, though, I learned what they wanted to learn. And I learned more from those students than I was able to teach them. You know? The first class session I ever missed, right? First class session. That I ever missed was August 30th, 2001. So it was over a year before I ever missed a class. And it was a good reason to. My first daughter was born. And I said, the hell with it. I'm not making it to the school tonight. Yeah. Elders was okay with that. I missed class, but the next week I had pictures of the beautiful baby. You know? What questions do we have here? What bills do we have here? Malik, you said what? Cut pint. Peace. New students, please take the email address of mine that is higher up in this chat. All right. Ask any questions that you would like to know. What was a hurdle young Sunnis had teaching at 20, 20, 21, 22? Oh my goodness. You guys, the way you word questions, I feel old. My body doesn't feel old. It doesn't creak. You know what I mean? But in the beginning, it was because I had not been around as long. In the beginning, because I wasn't. There are many brothers that are not so-called African American. Right? So I'm not the first brother from Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican descent, shit like that, Yellow Sea, things like that. But to be given such a high duty, right? It led to more scrutiny from people. Another thing too is that people were more able to gauge one's sincerity, potential loyalty, authenticity within this. And I'll keep it real, especially my peers, not by the quality of the build and the works put in and the works being put forth, but by the history of Hells. My history of Hells, I don't speak about it. It is poverty like most people that grew up in Brooklyn. But an illegal life, jail time, things like that, these are things that I didn't experience. And too many of my peers only know how to validate people like that. And it has been one of the worst methods of validation I could ever think of. There was an elder, great elder, and one time we had a disagreement. He was in my class and he disagreed that the worth of someone isn't just based on their works. That we shouldn't just value someone based on the work that they put in. And I said, no, but it counts. And maybe the highest grade, the type of work that they put in. What type of work did they put in? And I don't mean works of success. I mean works of merit. The type that should be valued in our nation. Right? So in the beginning, people didn't know. I taught unorthodox. I spoke about things with more depth and clarity that were not necessarily focused on a vegan living foods diet. Okay. I taught that as a curriculum. No one ever did that here. No one ever taught that as a distinct thing. You know what I mean? Specifically focusing on literature that is not just on Elijah Muhammad's books. How to use this literature, how to write about this literature, and to make writers and writing a particular expected assignment. And for all you students out there, it's an expected assignment out of you too. You just haven't done it. I've given assignments. I won't be holding people's hands, expecting it back. Right? So the early hurdles were like that. Who is this person? Some people thought I was dealing with the knowledge because I was already successful in hip hop. Understand that when I came to get the knowledge, I was already in major magazines, multiple major magazines, large ones, Vibe, Double XL already. I was already a writer of note. I already had a black book. Right? So some might try to lump me on in that level, just trying to get a hip hop resume, things like that. A lot of stuff, you know what I mean? What they didn't get, that the only reason that I kept coming and building is because I was obsessed with knowing. Please God. Obsessed with knowing, obsessed with learning. Right? And what people saw or could assume was going to be a quick, bright light that burns out, and realized that that was really a bright light longevity, consistency. You know what I mean? Early hurdles were all good too. Early hurdles, good hurdles. Certain elders I knew or didn't know would come and introduce themselves and challenge me, quiz me, respectfully or confrontationally, on the verges of disrespect. And I would take those challenges, though, right? So these early hurdles were good. You know, good. That's why I was telling you, God, King, that the stuff that happened last week, that's nothing. It's easy stuff. Very easy. King, you said, did the whole rules of what qualifies a god of earth to be able to rock the flag come in the early 80s, like who could and who couldn't have it on? Those qualifications didn't come in the early 80s though, but they may not have been made distinct. Excuse me. Cut Pine, you worded your question wrong. You said, are there any Mexican members of the Nation of Gods and Earth that you know of? The better question is the Mexican man that decides to get knowledge of self going to be in the nation? Peace. And that's a fact, right? Right. In my years, I've taught many Mexicans from many states too, not just New York. You know. King, you asked me if I ever had a hard time when teaching someone with a language barrier. Yeah, because I get a lot of people throw Latino students at me. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind at all. I don't get offended. But some of them don't. I don't speak Spanish well. And I certainly don't speak Spanish well enough to get all of the ideas that I have out. You know what I'm saying? That I would like this student to learn. So that could be that is a burden. That is not a burden, but that is a barrier. But I find my ways around that. And I've always been able to guide them to where they can learn and who they can learn from. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I deal with that. There are so many brothers that build strong and in Spanish as well that nobody really has that excuse for too long. They may not know that this is possible, but brothers definitely, especially in Spanish. Peace, Indigo. All right, Tanner from the block. Peace. Peace, God. Oh, that's peace do for self. See, there's an add-on right there. Child justice. Malik, you said a question I thought about while building with a great friend of mine. Can a woman who had the knowledge to teach her man, or should he seek a male to teach him? He can learn from that woman though, but he's got to go find somebody. He has to because he needs to learn from an elder man. He needs to learn from an older God. You know what I mean? You got to learn. That's what our elders are for. That's what we're here for. If you guys actually see me as an elder, which is crazy, I don't care. Then we do that. Then it's important. Cut Pine, you said, I'd like to gain knowledge of, but from my knowledge, there are no poor righteous teachers or enlighteners around my area. How would I go about furthering myself? I don't know where you're at though. So, and if you're 85, if you don't have the knowledge though, trust me, your ability to gauge where 5%ers are, that's not your wheelhouse. You wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Malik, you said we were building on the woman should teach your daughter how to be a woman and vice versa. If you take my email, Cut Pint, you email me, let me know where you're from and things. If you don't want to share that information here, I can help you find someone in there, that knows where those people are. Hmm. Um, I'll admit to nothing. I'll admit to nothing, Maker. Okay. Phyllis Hyman is my favorite soul singer. And don't make me queue up. I'm in the prime of my life. Um, I love getting older. I don't bear witness to aging. One of the gods, right? Sun God is one of them. Yeah. My brother, Infinite Mind, right? Steph Soul, you said peace to gods and earth. I am all I be Allah. In C Medina, currently in the 140, 19th degree. Today's supreme math is wisdom born. Your wise ways, words, and actions manifest what you see to complete. Okay, a little awkwardly written, but I get the understanding. Wisdom infinite. You said to Malik that you build with your daughter and son, but you understand that certain gems need to come from man in regards to. That's right. That's right. If you can network them and put them in there, and it should be there should be, shouldn't be a problem with trying to get them to be around us elders in some kind of fashion, you know. And if there's anything good that we can do with the internet and with all this, global learning is to find some kind of way to do that. All right, P4 King, peace. Okay, this class usually goes from 6 to 8, though. I haven't been online that long because I was still in the class, but I was still in the classroom. But when I say 6 to 8, though, is between those times. So I want people to let me know their builds, let me know what they would like me to answer. Again, this classroom session time, especially online, is a springboard, not to every answer in the universe, but the springboard to more building with me or direction of where to go to build. Okay. If you think you tuned in on this Thursday with me and you got everything you needed to know, then you made a big mistake. So Malik says, so it's okay for us to teach a woman and not vice versa. As I thought about this, the answer came to me. I just thought I'd ask the best known. We teach our women, you know what I'm saying? And we may teach our daughters this knowledge of self. But the black woman always can use the earth to learn special things that she needs to know, how to live this, how to deal with this, all of these things that we can't even teach her. And the young God absolutely needs an older God to teach him something with this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? I did not combine. Cincinnati. Okay, Cincinnati. Okay. I don't see that, Micah. I don't see wisdom as a reflection of knowledge. No, I do not see that. The only reason I don't say that, though, is that I don't want us to take away the activity of it all. When you have knowledge and it becomes wisdom by its growth with you. It's becoming something else, not a mere reflection. It is manifesting in action. Inside the mind, it is being used and it becomes an understanding. So, in that path, it isn't just a reflection. You know what I'm saying? In fact, it's some type of transition that is going on. And that's why I say that I disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a little bit deeper than that, more profound than that, more active. You know, wait, what did I'm not following here. What did Rizza say in his Tao of Wu? I don't know what it is that got quoted from. Crypto, you said, Suze, how did the alphabet and numbers come about? Why was it needed? It's a great question. When the father started to build, he had what he took from the Nation of Islam. He took pieces of the supreme wisdom that he said was going to be our 120 lessons. That's what he felt was most crucial. As he started to build, he realized that being the true and living God, that there is a language to the true and living God. And that language is right and exact. And that it can actually be used to understand the self and to what? Not only predict, not really predict, but actually know how we will live. Right? So as he started to devise supreme mathematics, the question is, what is the law and order of the universe? And if this whole language is all mathematics, then what would that be representative inside these numerals? That's the origins of supreme math. And that becomes the essence of our language. You know what I mean? So that's how the father started to deal with that. Making the supreme alphabet is applying those principles of supreme mathematics into the letters of the English alphabet. To extend the dialect, to extend the insights. Right? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's not wrong, but to me it's not really exact. So I just, and I love the Dao Wu, and me, I'm not here. I love what RZA does. He's one of my heroes in this music. You know what I'm saying? And as far as one of the greatest thinkers that I've ever learned of, I just don't agree with that completely. But it's not an unsound statement to make. I just don't think it's exact. All right, today's class though is we only have 20 minutes left. I'm going to end at 8 o'clock, my usual time. I've been here since 5 actually building, but I'm gonna end at 8 though, okay? Because I have an early morning tomorrow. I have some work to do. King knows what it is, but I also have my daughter, and even though I did a couple of things this week, the highlight of my week was seeing my youngest daughter write songs for the first time, actual songs, and then I gave her the opportunity to to do all of them or one of them, any of them, and to record her singing them, and we had a lot of fun with that. So it was a wonderful milestone for her and me to know, So a lot of work to do. Um, yes, King. It's the keys to locking 120, but I never say it like that. I never say it like that because it's really you. I don't want to say it like that because I don't want to look people to look at mathematics more so than they already are, incorrectly looking at it as like some magical tool though. And I don't want people to think they're Merlin when they know the supreme mathematics, you know what I mean? And they're unlocking it though. But yeah. But that's why. That's why. Again, for the students that I'm teaching, if you're interested in enlightenment or you want to learn more with this knowledge, email me. If you're building with me, you got to build with me outside of the classroom, like Malik does, like when I build with King all the time. You know what I'm saying? I can't be specific to what you need if that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Um, and this and the level of the level that the level of intensity, the level of worth that you go reach out to me is exactly, you know, what you will receive. Okay. All right. So in these last 15 minutes, so if anybody has any builds that they would like to share, a question that they would like to ask now, I'm definitely here. All right. Malik, you said 120 is a map, and Supreme Math helps navigate the terrain. I see that. I don't disagree with that. So I gave an introduction about the course. And one of the key things in the course to remember is to have your own journal, to have a diversity of books that you read, to not worry about the overloading of your brain. We're saying you're the God of the universe. We're saying you're the earth. If you don't have the capacity to deal with mass amounts of knowledge, how could you have the responsibility of the entire planet, the entire universe? So it ought to be something that frees you up to not worry about that. And the thing, there are writing in your journal is one of the ways to process all this. So the worry is the process, not that you cannot, and the more that you work on processing it by writing, Also, another way that processes things is in the creative works. We're all creators. We have to find ways to test our creativity, to use our creativity, and see how far that goes. What I mean is, this knowledge of self is tested by creativity. We are creators. That is essentially what the degrees are showing and proving and telling us we are. So we have to try out, we have to engage different methods of creating, and we also ought to study creative methods. Right? These creative outlets are going to allow us to process information also as well. Right? If a brother like King Kamal, Wisdom Infinite Earth, when they rhyme, they're processing their ideas and now turning into a creative art and seeing how it will be taken by the populace. They are communicating with the populace in a creative art form, and now they can test the worth of their insights, the worth of their understandings. This is something that we all have to engage. Not everybody should be rapping. Not everybody ought to try it. Not everybody is going to be a writer, author. But all of us should engage in some type of creative works. Okay? Test them, try them. You know? If you've never written poetry, learn about poetry and then try some. You know? And if you think that, like, the thing is that people think that they ought to be great at it immediately. You know, people read my stuff. Like, if you read my books, right? If you read a book and you said, "Wow, this poetry, it has stuff from, let's say, 5 years ago." I've been writing poetry for way longer than that. So I have a litany, massive collection of terrible poetry. The only difference is that the terrible poetry is not available for sale. Right? So that's what I mean. So we all should engage in some kind of creative work. You know? For the brothers out there, if you should be training, you should learn how to learn some type of martial skill. I didn't say martial arts, so not all you're going to do martial arts, kung fu, all that, but some kind of martial skill, some way of fighting, right? All of this is creative, you know? All of it is creative because to adapt these things to your physical body will be something that is never done before. Never done for your particular body, right? So we have to engage. This is what this classroom is about, is engaging. Okay? So if you don't engage, you'll never be engaged. Questions here. Any tips on journaling? JM, sometimes we need to have a framework when we write. Even when we write in a journal, we may not be able to free write. So what you do is you make a little page on the side, loose sheet, not the journal, your loose sheet. And what you do is you write down select things that were of importance that happened, and maybe and do the same with a list, another list that says insights that you may have thought of that you think are worthy. All right? Okay? You don't want to just open a journal and be saying, "I feel tired. I don't know what to write." Right? So that might help, though. And then you expound on those points. You know, just like when we write an essay or we write an article, you know, we have to have, like, you know, bullet points of what we're going to do, you know, and then attack them. Yeah, I guess if you had to simplify the 9th and 10th degrees and the 1 to 14, right? Right, Millie? Steph, you said I God, and I self, Lord and Master. Do you see it being a difference? Technically, it was built to not be a difference. Those two phrases are to be the same mentality. You know, I self, Lord and Master, I God, that's the nature. So they weren't meant to be a difference. It was meant to be a different way of saying it. That's right. That's right. That's why teachers utilize music and song to teach is highly effective. Yeah. Listen, Earth, I don't have my speakers here attached here because when, you know, I was definitely gonna blast Phyllis Hyman's "Prime of My Life." You know what I mean? Um, but you know, I can't blast it right now. So, unfortunately, Malik, do you find greater understanding as you study 120? Of course, of course. You know what I'm saying? More things that go with it, more insights, of course. You know? Peace to the God, powerful. Sim, peace, God. Indigo, you said knowledge of has changed my life in a wonderful way as a youth who was in gangs. Thanks for sharing with others. That's peace. I appreciate that. That's peace, Steph. It's an honor. That's what we're here for. But yeah, yeah, that's the song of the day. I'm in the prime of my life, though. Mhm. I be training with that shit all the time. Man. People think it's some soft shit. That shit is hard, though. Mhm. All right, I'm gonna write my email down here. This class session, this class comes with a curriculum. It comes with a large library that comes attached to it as you go along with it. That is available to the students. So, word, actual fact, that Righteous Name song is great. That's an incredible song.
Peace, God.
Peace, God.
What's going on,
I
man?
think it's peace, God.
All right. Good seeing you always.
Definitely.
How the ladies treating
Always good.
you? You look like you're shining like somebody's blessing you, or some few are blessing you. I'll take it later.
All right. All right, I'm here for a few more. All right. And again, if you have my math, always reach out. You know what I'm saying? I always get back to people as soon as I can. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Get in tune. All right. If there are any last questions, I'm about to get off. Definitely honored with everybody. A lot of new people. A lot of new people I saw in here. So definitely contact me so we could build. Find where you're at and add on with that. All right. Any last questions? I will field them. All right. That's peace. Peace to the earth. All right. Indeed. Indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Okay. So I don't see any questions. I'm gonna end the class, and I will see you all next week. Willingly, everyone will build me before next week. All right. Peace.